Okay, guys, what all we covered in the last class? Power query. Okay, I would like to have a bit silence today. Okay. Power query, like what all things we have seen in the power query. क्या क्या ऑप्शंस एक्सप्लोर किए थे हमने? What all things we have seen in the power query? Guys, रिवीजन नहीं हुआ? रेप्लिकेट की थी क्लास फाइल्स? ठीक है, चलो I'll give you some hints. ठीक है, और आज आवाज़ें नहीं because I have a sore throat, so I won't be able to shout. ठीक है, simply, so let's say we started with changing data types, how to change the data types. ठीक है, then we explored the text filters and numeric filters like we used to have in Excel. How to replace values, replace errors. What else? What? Merge columns. Apart from this, custom columns, column from example. What else? And you have a lot of other options also. If I show you over here, say transform data, you have a lot of options over here regarding the date also. So yeah, choose columns, keep rows, remove rows, all these things. Let it load. So let's have selected this order date table. Now if I go to transform or let's say add column, transform where you have date. So what will happen? The current column will be transformed. I don't want my current column to be transformed. So if I say year, it will be transformed into year. Month, it will give me all the month related options. Name of month, end of month, start of month, like that date, quarter, week, day, all these options I have. So if I say transform, or sorry, add a column and I am saying it date. So this will do what? This will add a column. Okay. So if I say year and I'm saying extract year, simply you don't have to do anything. Year is extracted. Okay. So we have date and time related components also. So when you will select the time column having the time data type, you will have these options enabled and you will be able to extract hour, minute, second, like whatever you want to extract from that particular column, right? If I talk about text, so text may you have extract, like you how you want to extract length, first character, last character, text before delimiter, after, between, and you can also have your own pattern which you can pass over here in column from example or custom columns. Okay, so these all options we explored last time. After that, we try to change the data category for the data enrichment. So I talk about the data category part, like we converted this reseller, this text city column into a geographical column, right? So that it can be plotted on the map. Okay. So till this point, and we also have seen how to change the by default aggregation in PowerBI. Okay. Now the next thing that I'll be doing is I will be looking out for all the possible hierarchies in my tables, and I'll be creating the hierarchies. Yeah, let's do that first. So if I say employee sales territory, product, yeah. What all hierarchy I can have in this table? What hierarchy I can have in this table? What's the topmost level of hierarchy over here? I will have a product hierarchy, yes. But उसमें top level कौन सा होगा? Product category, then product subcategory, and after that, product name, right? So how you can create a hierarchy in Power BI is simply click on product category, and you have an option over here, create hierarchy. That's my topmost level of creating hierarchy. Create hierarchy. Once this is done, you can see product category hierarchy. When I expand this, I have only one variable over here or one column. I want to add what? Product subcategory. Just click on these three dots and you say add to hierarchical option. Which hierarchy? Product category hierarchy. In the same manner, I can even add a product name. Okay? So add to hierarchy, product category hierarchy. Now, if I expand product category hierarchy, see, okay, I have these three levels in the product category hierarchy. So I've created a hierarchy for the product table. Let's check for the reseller. What will be the hierarchy over here? यहाँ पे hierarchy क्या होगी resellers में? So yes, so it will be, let me see which will come first, right? So if I click on reseller and if I go to this data view tab, reseller, so I have city, state province, country region. So it will be country region, then state province, then city, and then postal code. That will be the hierarchy I'll be creating over here. So I will say country region and yeah, create hierarchy. Done. Now the second level I will add is state province, add to hierarchy, country region. The next level I will add to this hierarchy is city. And after that, postal code. Done. So for the reseller table also, I've created the hierarchy. Let's say if you have any hierarchy in the sales table. No. Let's talk about the sales region. Yes, we do. So which one will be at the top? Let's check. Sales region. So it will be group, country, and then region. Okay. So group, create hierarchy. Then next will be what? Country. Add to hierarchy, group hierarchy. After that, it will be region. Okay, done. Created the hierarchy for the sales region. Yeah. Next is salesperson. Let's say what hierarchy we have over here. Nothing as such. Sales targets. No. Okay. So we have created all the possible hierarchies which were there, right? There is one hierarchy which is still left, which is a date hierarchy. We will see that in the later stage. But yeah. So now what is the advantage of creating a hierarchy? When I'll be sharing this, when I'll be publishing this on the Power BI service and sharing it with the client will have, the client will be able to see this report view page, right? So he'll be able to see the visuals. He'll be able to see this data section also. So I don't want to keep this data section having a lot of columns and make it very cluttered, because eventually I'm going to also add KPIs over here. So this thing and this Power BI report view will be visible to the client. So I will keep this section as clean as possible. That does not necessarily mean that deleting the variables, I will hide the variables or columns. Right? So the next thing that I will do is I will create folders. Okay. So what's the use case of folders? Like, why do you create folders in your laptops? Basically to organize your files or to have organized data. Similarly, you have an option of folders in Power BI also. So in order to organize your analysis, I can say, let's say, for example, I am having, let's say, all the KPIs which are related to sales in a single folder, all the KPIs related to profit in a single separate folder, or some other KPIs in a separate folder. So for that purpose, I can create a folder. Okay. So if I give an example for that, how to create a folder is, let's say I have this color formats. So this table, I haven't done this thing over here, right? Color format wala. So what I will do first is I will go to transform data, and I don't want color format table ideally. So if you see color format table, I just need two columns that can be mapped with the product table as it is. I don't need this entire separate table. So what I can do is I can go to transform data. And this is my product table. So I will say merge queries because I want to merge on the same table. which table I want to select, color formats, and on the basis of the colors. Okay. Left outer join because I want all the records from the product table. And I will say okay. I will further expand this and I will just get background color and font color and remove it. Done. So that means I don't require this table now, color formats. And I can say over here, right click, and I can say enable load, basically disable the load. So it won't be loaded into the Power BI. And I can say close and apply. Done. So what I'm trying to do is, as far as it is possible for me, I'm basically sticking with the star schema. Let me save my file first. Yeah, done. So now, see, there is no color format table which is loaded into the Power BI. But if I expand the product table, I have font color format and background color format. What I would like to do, like I would like to keep this in a separate folder. So I will just click on this, expand this property section in the model view tab. And over here, we have an option of display folder. So here, I will just give the name to it. I will say formattings. Okay, and enter. So once I do that, you can see a folder with the name formattings is created and which is having only one variable. I want to have the which is background with font color format also in the same folder. So you don't have an option over here like add to hierarchy or add to folder. You have to, what you have to do is you have to write your folder name over here. So I will say formattings. So it will be added to the same folder. Now this is a folder which is having only the columns which are related to formatting. Clear on how to create a folder? So now one question is why modeling is essential over here. Why do I need to perform modeling? Why I need to define the relationship between the tables? Guys, tell me. ये तो डिस्कस किया था ना? What will happen if I don't define the relationship between the tables? You won't be able to have the transfer of data from one table to the other table. So if you create any visual, it will give you the overall aggregated value for each of the category, right? So let's say if I have product category table, which is product category from the product table and sales table, say I am having sales amount. So it is doing what? It is giving me the overall aggregation. It is giving me the entire sum of the sales column for each of the category. And it is not bifurcating the total amount as per the category, जैसे group by करता है SQL में, because we haven't defined the relationship between these two tables. That is why. तो क्या कर रहा है? हर column को individually treat कर रहा है. And then so it's just a single column, so it is just taking aggregation of it and just repeating those values. Okay, so that is why modeling is very important. Once I define the relationship between the tables, it will be so I will get the sum of sales amount as per the category. So let's understand how we can define the relationship between the tables. So there are multiple ways of doing it. So again, I'm following the star schema for now. So this is my sales table. This is my salesperson table. So one way to do is, let's say you have the employee key over here. So click on employee key and just drag it on the employee key of the sales table. It will automatically define the relationship. Okay, so it is saying that this window is opened up. It will say one to many. So salesperson is what? Dimension table, one to many, done. Okay, cross filter direction is single and both. So when I say single, that means now my data is flowing from dimension table to fact table. Save. Okay. See, what is the relationship? One to many. Okay. Or what you can do is you can even say manage relationships, and you can define the relationship between the tables. So new relationship, I can say. And again, let's say sales table, and I will have which other table? Product, on the basis of product key. It has automatically picked this thing up. Many to one. See, if I try to make it many to many or one to many, you can see this save option is disabled. So PowerBI is intelligent enough to detect the kind of relationship between the two tables, and it won't let you to just basically choose any relationship if it is not correct. Okay, so it will disable it. It will be what? Many to one. Save it. I will add another, which is reseller table and the sales table. So reseller key. Then we have sales table, and we also have sales region, sales territory basis पे many to one, done. Okay. Okay, close. Let's see now what all relationships we are having. So this is my sales table, which is my fact table. This is my salesperson table. Now, if I see, so what kind of schema does it looks now? Star. Data is flowing from which table to which table? Dimension to fact. Because this is the kind of, so if you hover on it, you are able to see how on base of which column the relationship is defined. Okay, the columns will be highlighted. Okay. So we have one table which is left with the sales target. So if I talk about employee sales territory, okay, so that means that this table was acting as a mapping table between the employee table and the sales territory table. But sales territory table or sales region table, it is already on the basis of the sales territory key. It is basically the relationship is defined, correct? So that means that I don't need this table anymore. Yes. So I won't be having this table. So I can go back and disable the load into the Power BI. This is one thing. Now talking about the sales targets. So this is giving me what? Sales target of each year of the employees, sales employees. So this is going to be in hierarchy with this particular table on the basis of which column? Employee ID. And the kind of relationship is going to be. So it is, okay, it is flowing from over here to over here. One to many. Right? Manage relationships. Let's edit this and check. Okay, so it is cross filter direction, it is single. So like if I check this thing, uh, so let's say the data is flowing from this employee table to sales table and this employee table to sales targets, right? One salesperson will have only 18, if there are 18 employees in the sales department, so there will be 18 records. But there will be multiple records in the sales targets for each month, each year, right? Okay. So generally, see, the data is flowing from the salesperson to sales target. So it will just tell me the what. It will just tell me which employee is having how much sales targets, right? So let's see if we, so currently relationship, deleting the relation, we will see whether this table is also used in our analysis or not. Okay, for now I'm just keeping it on hold. Okay, so this is what I have done is basically I have defined the relationship between the tables. And I'm just sticking to star schema for now. Any doubt till this point? Clear?
जब कंपनी में डेटा मिलता है तब पावर बीआई पे काम करता है तो लाइक हमें कोई ऐसा कंडीशन आता है जहाँ पे हमें खुद है ना क्या बोलते हैं रिलेशनशिप शो करनी पड़ती है या फिर पावर बीआई में खोलते से ही अपने आप सारी रिलेशनशिप आ जाती
You have to always verify the relationships.
है वेरीफाई तो
See, sometimes the column names are different, and Power BI fails to define the relationship between some tables. So you have to do it. Okay. Okay. Is everyone clear till this point, guys? How to perform data modeling? Right. Okay. So we have performed data modeling. Now, if I go back to the report view, you can check since the relationship is defined between the sales table and the product table, the total sales is now bifurcated at the category level. Now I'm not getting the overall sales of that particular column. Clear? Okay. See, my this data section looks very cluttered, right? So what I will do is, key. What was the use case of the keys till over here? Till this point, what was the use case of the keys? To, to define the relationship, right? I have defined the relationship. So am I going to use these keys in the analysis? No, right? So that means key, I will just simply hide these keys. When I hide these keys, they won't be visible in the report view tab, data section. So it will make it less cluttered. Okay, so let's say employee sales territory, I will hide this entire table only for now. Or either you can disable the load. Okay. You can see a cross symbol on the eye, and even in the over here, also you can see the cross symbol on the eye. If you go to the report view, you won't be seeing any sales territory key table. See, there is no sales territory key table over here. It is hidden. So whatever is hidden is not visible in the report view. It is not deleted, it is hidden. Similarly, I will hide, let's say, product key. I can hide. I can hide. Okay, 1 second. Just see what I can do. Let's say, let me hide this also product category because I've created a hierarchy for that. So let me just hide the product category. Just let my product name because I'll be using this product category and subcategory a lot just to explain you guys. So I'm not hiding it for now. I'm hiding it, not deleting it. That's a different thing. Reference is still there. Yes. Obviously, I have not deleted that. If that column exists and is not visible, that's a different thing. Yes, it will be. I haven't hidden the hierarchy, no. I have hit that column. So, okay. Okay. Then reseller, if I talk about, then I will hide this city, country, region, postal code, alternate key, reseller key, state, province. Done. Also, you can go to you can hide it from here as well. So let's say reseller we have hidden. So if you see if expand reseller, I have only these three columns visible. Right. If I say product, only these many. So if I go to sales and I want to hide employee key, I can simply right click and I can say hide. Okay. So it will be hidden from here. See what visible over here. Done. Gone. Okay. Hidden. Or you can simply go to this model view tab and simply just click on the eye to hide it. Employee key. So product key, all these are what foreign keys. I don't need this for the analysis because I will be keeping from now on, I'll be keeping only those columns which I require for the analysis. Okay, done. So I have hid the keys basically over here, which are or the columns which I don't require for the analysis. Now, if you go and check in the report view, see it looks more sorted now, right? Less cluttered now because I'll be adding a lot of KPIs also. So I need to uh, keep only the relevant columns because client will be able to see what all columns and tables you are having in the data section. So what all we have done till now? We have created hierarchies, we have created folders, then we have defined the relationship between the tables, data modeling, and after that, we have just hit the columns which we don't require for our analysis, mostly the columns which we have used in the hierarchy, and the columns which we have used to define the relationship between the tables, that is the keys. Okay?
What sales?
Sales region what?
So why did you add country to the region?
I have a hierarchy. That's the use case of hierarchy. Ki what is the advantage of hierarchy? Instead of dragging three variables separately, I can just simply drag the hierarchy once for the visual.
To hierarchy also gets slicing. Like,
Yes. So that is possible even without hierarchy. Okay. PowerBI is interactive. Okay, so let's now, so we have seen till data modeling part. Now leave the analysis. Okay. So we'll be understanding the visuals and the formattings first. And then after we'll understand the decks. Okay. How to derive KPIs using decks. So these are the default visuals which are available in Power BI. If you want to get some custom visuals from the third Microsoft email ID, which has like which ends with @ of Microsoft.com, like that, or you require an organization ID. So if you just click on these three visuals, get more visual. What it will do is it will first ask you for your organization ID. I've already entered my ID over here, email ID, and then you will be able to see this third-party thing, which is verified by Microsoft. Okay, so if you want any kind of visual in Power BI visualization pane and use it. So let's say if I have this, what I can say search. So I want to have a text search slicer. Let's say text search slicer. So I will just click on this. So some of them are paid, some of them, and so it has given you the information about it. Okay, I want to add it, so I can simply say add. Once I do that, you'll be able to see I have imported the visual into the Power BI. Okay, now I can simply just use it. So it will be acting as a search slicer. For example, okay. Now if I search something, it will give me accordingly. So what are the product categories we had? Let's say access service. Oops. I think I need to have visual for that first. So just a second. Let me have a visual. Let's say it's a column chart, and I am having a product subcategory on the x-axis, and I'm keeping sales amount in this. And let me have a slicer also. I can simply just, and I can search over here, let's say bikes. Once I do that, just by searching it, it is doing what? It is filtering the subcategories for the bikes category. Okay? So this is what a search text slicer is. So that's how if you want to have any search-based slicer, you can import this slicer from the custom visuals. Okay. Let me just delete this. I can simply say, so it is print to visualization pane. I want to remove this. So pin it and uh, remove a visual. So if I want to remove it, text slicer, which I imported, I can say remove. Okay, done. It's gone now. So accordingly, you can add your custom visuals, animated visuals, and remove them if not required. Now let's understand the visuals part. Everyone is clear when to create which type of chart, right? Okay, so let's say if I have this drag and drop on the x-axis, I will have categorical variable. So let me have product, or let me have a product category on the x-axis, and on the y-axis, let me have the sales amount. Let me increase the text. So okay, let it be right. Okay. Now let me create one more visual, which is again a column chart, which will have business type. Let's say, okay, reseller business, or let me create this as a pie chart, which will have business type, and values will be sales amount. Okay. Now, I told you कि Excel में क्या होता था? You used to create slicers to make it interactive. Power BI is by default interactive. So when I click on this orange, the orange section, which is what? Warehouses. These are what? These are the sales of the product subcategories for the warehouse. If I click on this value added, so these are the sales of the product categories for the value added reseller. Sure. Okay. Clear? So Power BI is by default interactive. You don't need to establish any connection between the visuals. That's one thing. So instead of this, I think let me take product subcategory. That will make more sense. Well, so let's say if I click on this warehouses, then it is giving me the sales accordingly for each of the categories. It's a different variable. And product subcategory one by one in the x-axis. Okay? Yeah. So when I click on this, one second. When I click on this, you are able to see this option, drill up, drill down. Click to turn on drill down, and these are disabled, but it will be disabled. Let's say drill up. Okay? So this is my first hierarchy level. When I track these variables separately, these are also acting as a hierarchy. So if I click on bikes, one second, it's not. And now this second option is what? Click to turn on drill down. Okay? So I do this. I have made it on. Now if I click on bikes, it is showing me what? So it is showing me the subcategories total sales of bikes. And what are the total sales of bikes in each of the businesses, right? Similarly, so I can click on drill up and it will take me to the upper hierarchy. So click on, you have to first, if you want to see for a particular category, the subcategory sales, the next level hierarchy sales, you have to click on this drill down option and then click on any of the category. It will take you to the next level in the hierarchy. Let's make it. Okay. The second option we have is what? Go to the next level in the hierarchy. It will directly take you to the next level in the hierarchy. If I do that, see. So this is showing me what? All the subcategories. Let me make it up. Now you have this option, which is it will expand one level down in the hierarchy. So if I do that, what's the difference? It is showing me that it is showing me this till this point I have accessories and these are the subcategories. Till this point I have the bikes and these are the subcategories. Till this point I have the clothing and these are the subcategories and their sales. So it is basically giving me concatenating and taking me to the next level in the hierarchy. So it depends on what you want to see. So this is how it works. And the same thing, instead of dragging these variables separately, what I can simply do, I can simply say just get product category. Done. Okay. So, yeah. So instead of dragging the variable separately, I am saying ki just drag it, just basically drag this once only. So if I click next level in the hierarchy, see. And if I want to see like touring bikes ka kya hai products mein, oh. Clear? That's the use case of the hierarchy over here. Everyone clear till this point? Okay. Now let's understand the formattings in the visuals. Okay. So this section is what? Build a visual. You have the format visual also. So this will include the formatting options related to this visual. These formatting options will vary from visual to visual. Okay. So let's say if you want to format your x-axis for this particular visual. So these are the options you have. You want to make it bold, that will be bold. You want to increase the size, that will be increased. You want to make it italic. So these are all the options of what for the x-axis. Okay. And you can change the color from here. What's the maximum work in case of this will work in case of that bar. Okay. Concatenate labels. When I go to the next level, let's say, not this one. See, my labels are not concatenated, right? So if I make this option on, and if I go to next level now, do you see the difference? It is components, it is category, and then subcategory. This will make more sense. It's a long title, so this will make more sense if this would have been a bar chart. Okay. Then again, you can play with the title also. You can give the text from title from here. So this is all for the x-axis. Okay, this is not for the. See, this is value section. Then you have title section. So let's say if I give a title as categories, you can see a title appears over here. So this option is for the x-axis. You can change the color accordingly. And category width. So again, that's the width part. Like how much width you want to have as per the categories. Accordingly, the width can be adjusted. Now, these were the options for the x-axis. Similarly, we have the options for the y-axis also. What is the minimum and the maximum range you want to give? You can decide the range of the axis from here. If you want to invert your range, that can also be done. See, now ranges are inverted. It is starting from, first it was starting from 0 to 30. It is now 30 to 0. That is, it is inverted, just in appearance. Okay. If you want to apply any logarithmic scale over here, that can be also be done. If you want to apply, so these are related to the values. If you want to make it bold for the y-axis, these are bold now. How you want to display the units. If you remember conditional formatting, custom formatting in Excel, same. You want to show in thousand, millions, billions, trillions, that can be done from here. Huh? Yeah, so it is auto now. I can make it to thousands also. See. Okay. Okay, if you want to switch the axis position, that can also be done. From the right and left hand side, it is now onto the right hand side. So these are all formatting options we have. This is the title for the y-axis, same as we gave in x-axis. Okay. Talking about the grid lines over here. So let me make it black color so you'll be able to see a bit. These are the grid lines. How you want to keep the transparency of it depends on you. Okay. So what should be transparency? And what type of line style? Solid, dash, dotted, depends. Right? What should be the width of it? You can increase the width or decrease the width. Okay. And this is vertical. So vertical, voila, let me make it again black. And transparency. Wait. Okay. Let me just This was horizontal, and the vertical will be for the bar chart in that case. Yeah. If you want to insert a zoom slider, that can also be done. Yeah. Then regarding the columns, if you want to change the color of the bars from here, you can change it. If you want to change the color of a particular category, you can give it from here and change the color of it. Okay. Let me just make it simple. And from here, you can decide the transparency you want to keep border or not. That can be decided from here. The borders on the columns. Okay. And these are the formatting options related to borders. What should be the width and all of it. Space, how much space you want to keep between the categories, let's say. So that will be decided from here. Okay. Data labels, again, switch it on. We'll be able to see the data labels. And these are the formattings related to data labels. So horizontal, vertical, how you want to keep it. So these are now vertical. If you want to keep it horizontal, you can keep it horizontal. Then title. So it basically the column name over here, like series name you want to give, or you want to give a custom title. That can also be decided from here. Okay. So let me make it off for now. Regarding the value part of the values, let's say, let me make it bold. So for we have the formatting defined, and this will vary from visual to visual. Okay, so you have to explore these options and accordingly format as per your convenience. Okay, so if you want to give the background color, that can also be done. So these are the background color for the. Okay, if you want to give plot area background, you can even insert an image from here. You can insert any image in the back. Yeah, these are all inbuilt features.
The background.
Which background you're talking about?
जो आपने अभी बोला custom day ना background image देते हैं।
हाँ.
तो PowerBI में inbuilt होते हैं तो images या फिर
No, you have to import it from some other source. So some source you have to import that. Okay. So this was regarding the formattings, and if I talk about of the visual, this was particularly visual, and if I talk about in general formatting options, so you can basically increase or decrease the size of the visual from here. So let me make it 400 to let me make it 500. Accordingly, you can decide the height and width and of the visual. Then we have this option over here, which is log aspect ratio. Okay. So no, if I make it on, what will happen is it will keep the uniformity of the visual. So what you have to do is you have to basically drag the visual from the corner. When I do that, it will whatever proportion here in that proportion only it will decrease the uh, size of the visual in that proportion only. It okay. So if I won't keep it that, then it won't. So it won't do that. In that case, okay. Then positions. So let's say if you want to increase, let's say if I say 5 horizontal, so it will shift the visual 5 points to the right hand side like that. So these are all the formatting options which are related to the tile area. So if you want to give a padding also, like in between the spaces, for the visual I'm talking about, and advanced options. Okay. So this responsiveness is not for the local machine. It's basically responsiveness means key whenever device, so it will automatically adapt to the screen size and accordingly will show the report. That's what responsiveness over here is. Okay. Now, then the second option, which is maintain layer order. So this means, let's say you have multiple visuals which are overlapping each other. Now, in which order you want to keep those visuals in the order of selection. Okay. So first, then if I click on it, this will be selected first. So you can keep the main layer orders if your visuals are overlapping. And this title of the visual if you want to give. So it is sum of sales amount by product. Product sales analysis or product sales, let it be, right? Accordingly, you can basically decide what you want to do, what color you want to get. Basically the title, right? If you want to give a subtitle also, you can click on this option and give a subtitle as well. Okay. If you want to give a divider between the subtitle and between the title, subtitle, and the visual, that can also be done. See. Okay. So this customized spacing between labels and so if you do that, see, it is just increasing the space between the visual and the titles. Text, again, if you want to change the background color, that can be done from here. So let me make it grayish. Okay. If you want to have a border of the visual, that can be done from here. The rounded corners and black and increase. Okay, width option we are not having. If you want to keep a shadow also, that can also be done for the borders. And where you want to keep the shadow outside, inside, all these options. These are all just formatting options we are having over here. So this is one more feature which is all text. So what will happen over here? To that blind person. Okay, so that's mainly for the blind. Tool tips we'll discuss later. That's an advanced. But yeah, so these are the so we have discussed two things over here. In the format visual section, we have formatting regarding the visual, and then we have formatting regarding the tiles. Clear with this? Okay. So if I let's say if I take this clustered bar chart and I get this product category over here, and let's say sales amount. If I go to the format section of this visual, which is y-axis, and I make this option max width, right? So let me just decrease the width. Okay. Now you see you're not able to completely see the name of the categories. So if I increase the max width, does it make difference? We're able to, it is basically increasing the width over here of the axis to make it completely visible. Now, if you say contact labels, that makes sense over here. If I go to the next level, see, this makes sense in this scenario. Because I have long labels, I'll be going with bar chart. So if I don't do contact labels, it will show bikes once and it will show the categories of the bikes in a dotted manner. We have seen this earlier. So this is what contact labels is doing. And more or less, the other options are same. From data labels, bars, you can change the colors. If you want to change the color of a particular bar, you can select that for a particular category, let's say bike, road bikes. Bike, road bikes. And I'm changing that color to, let's say, some yellowish. So if there's a particular category for which you want to change the color, that can also be done. Take it all. It won't change it everything to blue. Okay? If you want to change this back to blue, you have to check, basically select that particular category and change the color to blue. Undo option. Undo is basically you have to go back and change the color. Assembly. Okay. So more or less options are still same over here. And so we have seen this stack bar chart. Similarly, you can have a stack bar chart, column chart, stack column chart. Okay. So PowerBI is mostly drag and drop. Let me show you how to create a stack column chart also once. Okay. So if I get, let's say, category, for example, in the category of category, where is the category? In the so this is giving me a normal column chart, but I have selected the option of what? Stack column chart, right? It is not 100% stack, it is stack. 100% stack is this one. But still, but it is not. So see, ideally it will give you only single column. No, it won't give you the bifurcation because you don't have the another subcategory, another hierarchy level. So I want to see the bifurcation of bikes category or each of the category as per the business type. So I will drag business type, not in the x-axis, small multiples, or let's say if I just click on it, will take it to the right place. Business type, where it is taking it, legends. Now my entire sales of bikes is bifurcated as per the business type. Clear? when you want to compare the absolute values of the categories. Along with it, you want to see the bifurcation of the subcategories within that particular category. Okay. Similarly, if we, let me create a copy of this over here, paste it. Similarly, if I've selected this visual and if I click on 100% stack column chart, it will convert it to 100% stack column chart. What's the advantage of this over this one? See, let's say bikes की sales is 23,000, ठीक है? Corporates की sales is 50,000. Clothing की. So the total sales of each category is considered as 100%, and the bifurcation is now happening on the basis of percentage as per the category level for each category, correct? So now if you want to compare the यहाँ पे the you want to able to compare the subcategories across the categories, right? अब यहाँ पे तो absolute value compare करने का कोई sense है नहीं, तो यहाँ पे आप क्या compare करोगे when you want subcategories across the categories? In that case, you'll be going with 100% stack. Clear? And you can explore the formatting option for the same over here also. One more chart, let me see, which is this one. This got chart. Okay. So let me get the sales amount on the values. So this chart is similar to what chart that we have seen earlier? Which one? Pie chart. No, not pie chart. No. Thermometer chart. A bit similar to this one. It's a God chart. Oh, so what was the limitation of the thermometer chart? That you cannot display the values which are more than 100%. So if an employee has overachieved, you won't be able to show that on the thermometer chart. But that can be done in the God chart. So this is the achieved part, right? So if you have a value, if you have a variable which is showing you what is the minimum value, you can basically drag that variable over here. If you have a column which is showing the maximum value, you can drag that column over here. If you have a column which is saying what is the target value, you can drag that column over here. Currently, I'm having no such column. So what will I do is I'm formatting. Okay, I will select this visual, go to the format option, and I will go to gauge axis. I will say minimum and maximum. So it is defined. What is the target? So let's say my target is 8. Yeah. See, what is my target now? 8 million. Okay, so this much overachieved. Let's say target, right? I can change the color of this from here. Target color, I will make it as, let's say, red somehow. And much I have achieved out of that. Okay. So if I make it off, you won't be able to see this. Data labels. Okay, let me make it bold. These are data labels. How you want to display those units? And then if I talk about the target label, let me make it bold also. And let me change the color to, let's say, red only. Right. Increase the size and display the units in auto in millions only. And this is my call out value. So this is my call out value. I can make it bold and change the color to, let's say, some bluish part. So if my value increases, decreases accordingly, it will show me the changes. Clear with this? The use case of the God chart. So you can show over here even if someone has overachieved or underachieved. Everything can be done. Okay. Next, talking about this line chart section. So I have this order date. I'm just dragging it on the x-axis. Done. And let me just keep it till month. And let me have the sales amount also in the y-axis. When do we create a line chart? When do we create a line chart? Trend? Yes, when we want to visualize over a period of time. So I go to the next level in the hierarchy, let's say. These are my points. Now, in the line chart, I go to this format visual and I have this option, general. Effects. Somewhere I have this option of forecasting. 1 second. Okay, not over here. So yeah, not over here. We have to go to this section over here, which is analytics section, right? So if you want to see the trend line, okay, if you want to format this trend line, that can be done. Like what should be the width of the trend line and what should be the color. It should be dashed or solid or dotted. So you can accordingly decide. Okay. So if you want to have a x-axis constant line or y-axis constant line, accordingly you can add it. Minimum line, maximum line, average line, median line, percentile, all these options are having error bars. What I want to do is I want to forecast. Okay. So on, make it on. So it has forecasted how many points. So my data is at the month level points it is saying. I want to forecast for the months, let's say for the next 3 months. And confidence interval is this. So if I say, what is my forecast line? This is my forecast line. I can apply the format. So let me apply data labels also. I think it will make more sense. Or let me see it over here. So it is 328, 2248, and then this one it is 478. So it has forecasted for the 328. It is not ignoring the last one. So I want to ignore the last one. What I will do, I will say ignore the last one. Yeah, so it has forecasted for the next 3 months. This one, and this one, and this one. Okay. So if I drill this up, it has forecasted basically there are no such years present. It should will make more sense in case of. Sorry. Yeah. So only the point is that you have a forecasting option also available in over here in the analytics section. So you can perform some basic analytics over here as well in the Power BI. Then you have this funnel chart. If you remember, I gave an example last time. I don't have the data for that, but this chart is directly available over here. Let's say how many students got the certificate, how many opted for the placement, and how many got placed. Right. So filtering down in a manner. So mostly sales team uses this type of chart, the funneling chart. Then we have this one more chart, which is a decomposition chart. So what will it do is it will decompose this. I'm taking product category, and then I'm taking sales amount. So analyze by sales amount, explain by product category. You are able to see what at the first level you are able to see the total sales. When I click on this plus button, it is asking me whether you want to get the high value or the low value, or you want to get the product category. So if it is showing me all the categories, but it is only showing me the linkage. The highlighted part is only that particular category which is having the highest sales. Okay, so let me add a hierarchy also. Let me add hierarchy, that will make more sense. Yeah. So now if I expand bikes further and I want to see what is the lowest sales in case of in the categories. So in the bikes, the lowest is in mounted 500. Okay, I have the product name. High value. Asking what you want to have. Let's say I'm saying product category. So it will show me the product categories, right? If I want to say what is the lowest value in the bikes, in which category, product name, or whatever it is, the lowest value in bikes is this one. So it is why taking it as up as this high value. If I expand this, okay, let's say I want to see for the low value, giving me what? Product names. But if I click on product category, yeah. So now further, if you want to decompose your sales, road bikes me, you want to see the lowest value. So it is in this one. So it is just creating, highlighting that path where it is the highest or the lowest sales, whatever you have defined. So then you have this map also. So you can have this map and let me have the sales region and let me have the sales amount. Okay. In the bubble size be the sales amount. So if I go to let's say next level, not next level, yeah, next level, then you are able to see the sales amount in each of the contents. Let me go to next level again. So let it be next down. Yeah. So in case of resellers, if I talk about where the resellers are operating and how much sales they are making. Yeah, so if you talk over here, so these are the sales amount. So location, like legend, latitude, login. Now let's say I want to understand the business type. Why is the sales of each of the over these regions? So I will drag business type into the legends. Now it is showing me the bifurcation of sales as per the business types for the particular regions.
Business types on the as well. Let me show that. So change the case.
Like, क्या कर सकते हैं? ये this is a map. This is inside a map. Okay, so it won't be over here, legend. Let it be. So basically, either you can have just the bubble size, which is depicted by the higher the sales amount, the higher the bubble size. Okay, if you want to have a further bifurcation within the bubble, you can include any categorical variable having lower number of categories into the legends. Okay, so you can say in the United States, like probably the higher sales are in Washington, California, this Texas. Accordingly, you can basically check over here. So this is how helpful it is when you plot these on the map. Okay. Then one more thing we have is create a visual using let's say Python or Ask script. If I click on Python, I can write the code for it and I can create a visual for that. You have to write the Python coding for this and you'll get your visual. Yeah, you need to have those packages. Yeah, visualization. Using what I did in the previous batches. Just a second. Um, Just getting opened. I can say these are my data set, let's say. So drop duplicates. Okay. What I have done is just a second. Back to this map. Let me create a separate Python visual and enable, and I will get the product category. And the sales amount. Okay. So this is what I have. Let me write my code over here. So if I write, let's say, import pandas as PD, import uh, matplotlib dot pyplot as PLT. Then then we can say data set, or let me just name whatever data set dot plot. What we can plot over here. What would let me check the arguments once. What are the arguments? Don't have it over here. Just a second. Okay. So let's say what I do is over here, if I say plot and I get the data set, basically you have to write that code over here, nothing else. And data set. So if I run this and check, let me check the syntax once, just a second. Just a second. It should ideally. So there is a direct function which is plt.bar. Okay, let's see that. Oh, what I feel the problem is कि I think we haven't summarized the data. तो पहले शायद group by होगा, उसके बाद it will take it up. So let's do one thing. It's 11:05. Let's have a break, and I'll take this up after the break. Okay. Okay. So the problem with this visual was I missed a bracket over here and I added an extra bracket over here. So that was the only problem. There was a mistake of bracket. So I missed a bracket over here. I did not close this bracket, which I opened over here, and I added some extra brackets over here. Right? Otherwise, the code was correct. Okay. So let's say this is the snippet of the code that I've written, and this has created a column chart. Okay. So this chart is created using Python. Uh, uh, you can also basically decide the size of the visual over here using the Python only, right? Let me just keep it for now. So just give you an example over here कि how you can create a visual using Python or any other programming language like R. Okay. So with this, we are done with the visuals and the formattings of the visuals. From now on, we'll be focusing on the text part. Okay. Now, see, if when I say text, that's what data analysis expression. Using DEX, I can do three things. I can create a column, I can create a measure, and I can create a table also. Okay. So it depends on the use case, whether you're creating column, measure, or table, you will be writing your formula. But all these three things will be done using DEX only. Okay. Now my question is, when should I create a column and when should I create a measure? So what is a measure? Measure is an aggregated value, a single aggregated value, right? So can you guys give me an example? Ki where should I create a column and where should I create a measure? Tell me. Let's say I have a salary column, or not salary, let's say sales column I have, right? I have a sales column. So will I create a measure or a column? Sales is a numeric, right? What will I want? I will want the entire sales of that particular column, total sales. So I will create a what? A measure because I want a single aggregated value. If I have a date variable, I want to extract day. What will I create? Column or measure? Column, because for each input, I want the output at the row level. If I take aggregation of this, will it make any sense? No, right? That is why. So you need to think whether before writing a formula, whether you're going to create a measure or you are going to create a table or you are going to create a column. That should be very clear. When you want the output at the row level, you will be creating a column. When you want an aggregated output, you will be creating a measure. Clear? Now there are 6 to 7 categories of DEX. So you need to just understand which category will be used when you are defining your formula. Okay, 6 to 7 categories. So if I talk about there are around 250 plus text functions in Power BI. Again, you don't need to learn all of it. You just need to understand it. Okay, so if I show you the categories of text in Power BI, So first one we have is math and statistical functions, right? Then we have filter functions for the filtration part. Then logical functions. These we have seen in Excel and SQL also. Then date and time functions, time intelligence functions, relationship functions, table manipulation functions, then text functions, information functions, DEX statements. So these are 6 to 7 categories of DEX. Okay. You don't need to basically by heart all these functions. You just need to understand. Okay. Let's say if we start with the first category, which is maths and statistical functions, right? So there is a function which is known as sum, right? And it takes what? Only a column as an in. Okay. So if I do over here, I am using the sum function. What will I do? Okay. Let's say the sales table. So there will be variables. So there's a variable sales amount, right? Okay. So I will say I want to apply some function on this column sales amount. What will I create? Column or a measure? Column. This is already a column. I want to take a sum of this entire column. What will I create? Measure, an aggregated value. So I will say यहाँ पे I have an option of is the measure option sales, and I will say यहाँ पे I have a new table, new column, and new measure. यहाँ पे I have an option of quick measures also. ठीक है? So quick measures are something which are the default measures already available in Power BI, which are the like common calculations. ठीक है? So these are also bifurcated into those 6-7 categories. If you want to calculate aggregate per category, average, variance, max, min. So you just need to simply track those variables, filters, time intelligence. If you want to calculate running total, so all these are available over here. So these are some default basic calculations already available in Power BI in form of measures. Okay, so if I want to perform subtraction, let's say I want to perform subtraction, what is the base value? So let's say total sales amount, and I want to subtract total cost from sales amount. Sales amount over here, and I want to subtract total cost from the sales amount. This will give me what? Profit. Add. So when I say measure is always an aggregated value. So you can see this calculator symbol. This is a measure, which is the name of the measure is what? Sales amount minus count of total cost. Or it is taking count. What it should take? Sum. Okay. Okay. So sales amount. It is data type is decimal number. That's okay. Sales amount is total cost. So it is text. Data type is text. It has to be, let's say, decimal number. Yes. So let me just delete this measure and recreate it. So quick measures are some default measures available in Power BI for basic quick calculations. So I am saying I want to calculate subtract what? Sales amount as total cost from sales amount. That. So this is the name. Now let's understand the syntax of the text. This is the name of the measure. Then some function ke andar it is first in single quotes taking the table name. Then after in square bracket it is taking the column name. Okay. So I am subtracting the sales, overall sales with the overall cost, which will give me the profit. So what I will do is I will rename this measure to profit. Okay. Profit. How it's useful? It's aggregated value. So let's say if I drag this in a table, it's an aggregated value. Now if I get product category, what will happen? This profit will be bifurcated as per the product category. See. So that's how a measure is helpful. This is a KPI. Profit is a KPI because it was not available. I have derived it from the existing columns. So this is what measure is doing. Let me just increase the size of it. View. Okay. So I have calculated a measure over here, which is a aggregated value. So this is how you are going to get the insights from your data. So this is a measure I've created. Let's say this was a default aggregation which was there. Now let's understand the other calculations. Okay. So what sum function does, it takes only a column as an input, right? Right. So if there's any continuous column for which you want to take sum of it, you can use the sum function for that. Now if I talk about sum x, the argument is that it first asks for the table name, then what expression you are defining. So expression can be anything, whatever type of calculation you are performing can be an expression. So it can be a formula also. So you can say ki, so what was the problem with sum is that you cannot multiply two columns or any expression. Let's say if I say profit, sorry, what it is. Uh, let's say I cannot say quantity into price and then take sum of it because sum function only takes a single column as an input. Okay, this is what this is my expression. Any task, any type of calculation that I'm performing is my expression, whether it is quantity by price or quantity into price or into something other variable. So that is not possible over here in sum function because it only takes one column as an input. So if you want to define an expression for that, you have to use sum x. What sum x will do? Let's say if I say quantity into price. So first it will calculate the total price at the row level. For that, for each row it will calculate the total price. Then it will take the sum of it and will return a single aggregated value. So it is returning the sum on the basis of an expression that you have defined. That expression can be anything. Okay. So for example, let's say if I have some x. So let me. So what will I create? Measure or a column over here? Table. Measure because I want an aggregated value. So I will say new measure. Let me give the name of this measure as. So I have a total cost already over here, but let's say if I calculated it using text function, how will I do it? So I will say total product cost. Okay. And I am saying sum. अब यहाँ पे what is the, see, it is giving you all the suggestions of the tables and the column types of that, right? यहाँ पे in some function I cannot say standard cost into quantity. So it is not showing me the table only, right? Quantity column, it is not showing me that, which is order quantity. So let's say order, not showing me, right? Because it just takes one column as an input. You cannot define an expression over here using multiple columns. So for that, I'll be using what? Sum x. So I will say table is sales table. Sales. And what is my expression? Expression is I want quantity into. If I say order quantity into unit price, it will give me what? Sales amount, right? Let's say I want to multiply this with the standard cost, but standard cost is not present. It is over here, right? Okay. Let's say standard cost is not present in the sales table. It is present in some other table, which is product table. So what I will do, I will say related function, and here it is showing me the related all the related tables to the sales table. So here I have the product table, which has the product standard cost. Done. So now this entire thing is what my expression is. I am picking up the order quantity from the sales table, and I am picking up the standard cost column from the related table, which is in the with which the sales table relationship is defined. Okay, and I'm multiplying these two, which will give me the total product cost. Enter. Done. So if you want to refer to a column which is in another table and the relationship is defined between those two tables, you will be using a related function for that. Okay. यहाँ पे related function product table पे क्यों use किया मैंने because I have mentioned the sales table over here. So total product cost measure is calculated done. See over if you see over here, this is related function is in which DAX category? Relationship functions. Okay, if you want to refer to a column from another table which is related to your current table, you will be using related function for that. So total product cost, and you can see, let's say again a table. to get the column from the related table. So let's say again product category, and I am taking total cost this time. Total product cost. So these two are same only. I just told you how to do it using DEX. I'm explaining you the DEX over here. Those two are same. Yeah. Okay. So the advantage of this is that it gets bifurcated at the category level if the relationship is defined. Yeah. So what you do is simply just write your table name. Let's say sales. Okay. So it is not showing. See, it's a table. So just simply press tab. Even if you do it, it should not give an error for that. I am basically not writing this. I'm just pressing tab. I just write the column name and I just select a tab. So still, I'm getting the output same. Yeah. So this is what sum axis. If you want the average, you can use the average function of a single column. If you want the average based on an expression, for that you can use the average x. Similarly, you have median x, and some count x, and geometrical functions. So wherever you are seeing the function x function along with the x part over here, that means that function is capable of calculating the aggregation or that calculation at a expression level. You can define your expression over there. Okay. Divide function we will see later. Similarly, you have count of a single column. Count x will give you the count based on an expression, whatever expression you are defining. Then you have min, max, count rows. It takes table and give the number of rows. We have seen that. Then distinct count of a column. Rank x we will see later. This function we will see later. Okay. So everyone clear till this point? So if you know the difference between sum and sum x, you will understand the function difference between other functions as well, which is average x. Okay, it's same. The functionality is same at the back end. It's just that the aggregation is changing. Clear with maths and stats part? Okay. Then we have filter functions. So if I want to create a subset of a table, I will be using a filter function for that. So what filter function returns? Geometric mean it's a static. It's a statistic. So if there's a column, for that you can calculate the geometric mean. It's a statistical concept. Just the stats part will be covered in the Python stats classes. Filter function will return you what? It will return a subset, right? So what should I create when I'm using the filter function? What should I create? Column, measure, or a table? What should I create? What? Column. I will be creating a table because filtering is happening at the row level. It is returning me the entire table with the filtered rows. Okay. So this is the, let's say table is let's say components. I want to filter for the category components. Okay. So I'll be using a filter function for that. So I'll say filter. Which table you want to filter? So I will say product. Then what is your expression? So I will say product category equals to components. And done. So now it will create a table which will be filtered for the components category, and it will have all the columns. See, it just has one category which is components. So you can see this table components underscore TBL. It has all the columns and the rows only for the components category. So this is how you can create a subset of any data using the filter function. Okay. So you have to see how your output looks like. If your output is a single number, you will be going with measure. If it's at the row level, you will be creating a column. If it's at the entire subset of a table, you will be creating a table for that. Okay. Then we have calculate. Okay. Okay. So if you want to calculate an aggregated value or any expression with a filter context after applying filter. Okay, for that you have to use calculate because आपके पास you don't have an option of filtering inside sum x or average x. You just have an option of defining the expression. You cannot define filters, right? So यहाँ पे calculate में in the filter table, so what filter function is doing, it is creating a subset, but I don't want to create a subset. I want to calculate a aggregated value or calculate the expression based on the filters that I have applied. Okay. So for that, I'll be using a calculate function. So again, I'll be since sales, and I will say new measure because aggregated value. And let's say I'm just naming this as what I want, components underscore sales. Okay. That's the name of the measure I'm saying. And I'm saying calculate. Now, what is the first thing it is asking? Expression. Expression can be anything. So I'm saying sum of sales amount. This is my expression. Now sum function takes only single column. So this is my expression, comma. Now I can apply n number of filters. See, n number of filters on basis of which my sales amount sum will be calculated. So I am saying over here, product category equals to, let's say, components. Okay, right. What? Yeah, I'm just filtering that. It is filtering the data for the components and then calculating the sales amount sum on top of it. Okay. So this measure will give me what? Only the sales for the components category. Okay. So if I go over here and if I create a table and I get product category, and if I get the measure, which is components, see, why I'm getting the overall sales, and this is not the overall sales also. What this number is representing over here? Total sales of what? Total sales of components. क्रिएट हुआ है कंपोनेंट्स को फिल्टर कर रहा है ना दिस इज टोटल सेल्स ऑफ कंपोनेंट्स एंड वो रिपीट हो रहा है किसी के लिए क्योंकि सिर्फ कंपोनेंट्स का सेल शो करेगा ना कैटेगरी लेवल पे तो सो इट विल मेक सेंस व्हेन आई over here instead of category I am having product subcategory, let's say, okay, or not product subcategory, let me have business type. So if I'm asking you to create a separate sales for each of the categories, that's how you're going to do it, separate columns for each of the categories by creating measures separately. What happened? Yeah, see, so if I try to understand this, this is giving me what? Total sales of components in the specialty bike shop. And this is a total sales of the components, which is bifurcated as per the business type. Correct? So this makes sense now. Like this, I can have separate columns. So you can, if you want to calculate expression, aggregation of an expression based on filtering context, you will be using calculate function for that. Okay? Guys, clear till this point? Clear this measure, how to this DAX formula? Okay. Then we have these, okay, not commonly used, these ones. Then we have these all except and remove filters. These are the type of filters we have. So these will be used along with calculate only. Okay? So if I say all function, okay? So it is saying returns the rows in a table or the values in a column, ignoring any filters that might have been applied. So all function के अंदर क्या होगा कि आप जो भी column, whichever column you pass inside the all function, it will remove the filters on the category on filters from that particular column. Okay? For that particular column, it will remove the filters on that particular measure. So let me show you that. So if I say new measure, because aggregated value, again, I'm taking the sum of sales amount. So let me say all underscore sales. Calculate. Expression is sum of sales amount. And in the filter, I am saying all. And in the all, you can pass n number of columns, right? So I'm saying product category from the product table. Okay, done. you cannot write equals to over here. It is just simply the column name. That's it. Inside the all function. Once I do that, okay, everyone understood this part? So now whatever categories I'm having in the product category, that if I select those categories won't be affecting my measures in terms of filtering. Okay, let me show you that. So if I take a marks card, and marks card will have the all underscore sales, and if I take a slicer, then I will take a slicer which will have the product category. Okay, so this is all underscore sales, total sales. If I click on accessories, bikes, clothing components, it's still same because I have put product category column in the all filter function, which says कि अगर कोई भी column आप all filter function के अंदर pass करोगे तो it will ignore the filters on that particular column. Only for this particular measure, the product category column will ignore the filters. That's the use case. Okay, but if I get any other slicer, let's say if I get product subcategory, so I did not put product subcategory into the all filter function. So ideally that this column should affect the measure, right? So if I click on web shots, see, it is affecting my measures. Clear? So if you want any particular measure to be not affected by any particular column, you can put it inside the all filter function. Clear with this? Similarly, we have, so this was all, then we have all except. अब all function में क्या होता था? All filter function में what used to happen? Whatever column we pass inside it, उस पे filter ignore हो जाएगा. All except में क्या होगा? Whatever column we pass inside the all except, whatever column or columns, so it will only apply the filter on, basically the filter will be applicable only for those columns for this particular measure. बाकी जो columns होंगे उस पे filter applicable होगा ही नहीं. Okay, so let me show you that also. So it is all except. So it is basically opposite of all function. So again, I'm creating a new measure because I want an aggregated column, aggregated value. So I will say यहाँ पे, what's the all except underscore sales. Okay. So I'm saying calculate because I need to define my expression, sum of sales amount. And I am saying all except. Table name you need to give. Let's say table name is product table, and the column name is product category. Okay. Now, what do you think? What will happen? So if I click on product category, only product category column will be affecting this measure, and no other column in the product table will be affecting this measure. Clear? Which is opposite of all function. If you want a particular column only to affect a particular measure, you can use all remove filters function for that. So again, let's create a marks card which will have all except sales. And let me have in the slicer, I'm having the product category, and again in the slicer, I'm having the product subcategory. Okay. So which function which column I passed inside the all except function? Product category. So it should what? Affect it? See. Okay, remove it. But if I click on web shots, is it affecting it? So it is opposite of all function, right? If you don't want, if you want only particular columns to affect your measure. So all except all these are filter functions, which you'll be using with. So remove filters is same as all function. Exactly same. The only difference is that you cannot use remove filters without calculate. Okay, all function can be used independently. So let me show you. So what I will do is I will create a table, new table, then I will delete that. Table, let the name be table only, and I'm using, let's say I'm saying remove Are you able to see any function, remove filters? No. But if I say all, and if I give the product category, so it can be executed without the, it does give output without the calculate. It will give me all the unique categories. Okay? But remove filter cannot be used, although they both are used for the same task only. Okay? So there's no such as difference in terms of use case. So let me just delete this also. Delete from model. So remove filter is same as all function, all filter function. So any doubt in the filter function part, when to use calculate? So when you want to calculate an aggregated value based on an expression, which is based on filter context, you'll be going with calculate in that case. Okay. So we have covered two things, maths, stats functions. यहाँ पे rank x we will see later, then filter functions. Then we have logical functions. So I won't be covering if, and, or not, because these are exactly same what we covered in Excel. Then we have switch. So switch function is similar to case one statement, I can say, in SQL. Okay. So let me show you how we use it. So let's say product table, and I will create a column this time because I want to give labels to the product categories. The labels can be numeric or text. So I am giving the name of the column as cat underscore labels. And I am saying switch expression. It is asking for the expression. In the expression, I want to give what? A column name, which is product category. Okay. What is the value? So if value is, let's say, components, then the result should be 1. If the value is accessories, then the output result should be 2. You can give any text value also over here. If the value is bikes, then the result should be 3. Now, if I keep on going comma, it will never end. Value 4, result 4. I want to jump to the else part. So I will say comma, and then I will click on this downward arrow, 1/2 part. It will take me to the 2/2 part, which is else part. And I will say over here else 4. Close. Done. So what I have done? I have given labels. Right? And this can also be used for custom sorting over here also. So this is what switch function is doing over here. We will be using it to create dynamic measures. But for now, that is the basic syntax of the switch function. Okay? So you can say it is working as ifs in Excel. So see, ideally you should be able to. They won't ask you directly the formula or the functions. Probably you need to know switch. You should be able to know the basic things how you can do it using the DAX. Take a labeling हो गया, if else functions, all these things. इसमें इसमें एग्रीगेट कर सकते हैं. Yes, we can do that. But उसका यूज केस अलग है. कवर वो हम देखेंगे एडवांस विजुअलाइजेशन की क्लास में. इफ्स में क्या करते थे? सम इफ्स में होता था ना वो तो. देन उसके लिए कॉलम क्रिएट नहीं होगा फिर. So what you are saying is, one second. What you are saying is, let's say, new column. Okay. What do you want to do perform here? Let me know. Let's say column का नाम column में रखना. If I'm saying switch, expression is sum of sales amount, and I am saying, okay, not the expression is one. This one. Expression is product category. If category equals to, let's say, components, then what do you want is sum of sales amount. Okay. और इसका यूज केस यहाँ पे नहीं है. इसका यूज केस पता है कहाँ पे है? मतलब आई डोंट वांट टू डिस्कस इट राइट नाउ, बट let's say if you have three guys, please. You have three continuous measures. One is profit, other one is revenue, and that's cost. So when I click on profit, it should return me profit. When I click on revenue, it should return me total sales amount. When I click on cost, it should return me cost. ठीक है, कैटेगरीज के केस में नहीं होगा, यहाँ पे वेरिएबल्स के नाम होने चाहिए. तो वी विल सी दैट यूज केस. उसको ही तो बोलते हैं डायनेमिक मेजर्स. यहाँ पे क्लियर गाइस, क्लियर विद द स्विच फंक्शन. तो बेसिकली क्या कर रहा है, वैल्यूज एलोकेट कर रहा है वो रिजल्ट मैप करके. ठीक है, इफ एरर, अगेन सेम एक्सेल फंक्शंस वी हैव. Then talking about date and time functions, right? So we have date function, date diff, date value here. Starting with calendar function. Okay. So what happens in calendar function is कि whatever start date and end date you pass, okay, it will give you the consistent dates from the start date till the end date. For example, your start date is 1st Jan 2024 and your end date is 31st December 2024. So it will give you all the dates from 1st Jan to 31st December. Each and every day. All the dates. अब use case क्या है calendar function का? So there is a concept in PowerBI which is known as calendar table. Why we require a calendar table is, so let's say, why we require a calendar table is, let's say, have is returns table. Okay. Now there is no such common column between the two tables on the basis of which I can define the relationship between these two tables. The only common column we have is date. Here we have order date and here we have return date. Right? Let's say I ordered on 1st Jan and I returned it on 5th Jan. Then 7th Jan I ordered. Someone ordered and returned it on 8th Jan. Right? So the dates are not consistent over here. Correct? The dates are inconsistent. So if I define the relationship of between these two tables on the basis of order date and return date, what will happen? I'll be losing out on a lot of data because let's say यहाँ पे जो date present होगी वो यहाँ पे present नहीं होगी, जो यहाँ पे present होगी वो यहाँ पे present नहीं होगी, right? Resulting in a loss of the data. So in order to avoid this, what I will do is I will create a table which is known as a calendar table, which will have the date of all the tables from the starting date, minimum date to the maximum date. Okay. So in order to create this table, I'll be using a function which is known as calendar function. Concept clear है calendar function का? So now I have a calendar table, I have a sales table, I have a return table. This calendar table contains all the dates which are present in the tables, other tables as well. So if I want to join these two tables, I will join this table with this one and this one with this one. But this table will have all the dates. Mapping in the sense? Huh. So I will be defining the relationship between the calendar table with the other tables which are having the date. वो तो एग्जांपल दिया ना मैंने. अब एक पॉइंट ये है कि ये जो टेबल है कैलेंडर फंक्शन, मैंने क्या कहा था कि वो आई विल मेंशन द मिनिमम डेट among all the dates and the maximum date. It will return me all the consistent dates from the minimum to the maximum. सारे डेज वहां पे पॉसिबल होंगे. ठीक है. सो देयर इज नो डेट विच इज मिसिंग ओवर हियर. सो जो डेट मैप हो रही होगी वहां पे इट विल मैप इट विद द सेल्स टेबल. जहां जहां पे रिटर्न टेबल के साथ मैप हो रहा है, इट विल मैप इट विद द रिटर्न टेबल. So this is just a table which I'm using to get the data from both of these tables without any loss of the data. समझ में नहीं आया? देखो प्रॉब्लम क्या है मैं बताता हूँ. तुमने ऑर्डर डेट लिया, लेट्स से ये तुम्हारी सेल्स टेबल है, तुम्हारी रिटर्न टेबल है. ठीक है. तुमने केपीआई क्रिएट किया विद द लेट्स से टोटल सेल्स का. तुमने एक मंथ लेवल पे केपीआई क्रिएट किया विच इज गिविंग यू मंथ लेवल का सेल्स. ठीक है, एक कार्ड में. अब तुमने जो स्लाइसर है ना, ईयर लेवल पे बनाया है. ईयर नहीं, मंथ लेवल पे स्लाइसर है, ईयर और मंथ लेवल पे. ठीक है. बट उस स्लाइसर में यू हैव टेकन द ऑर्डर डेट, नॉट द रिटर्न डेट. तो जहां पे रिटर्न डेट का तुमने कोई भी चार्ट बनाया होगा वो क्या आएगा, ब्लैंक आएगा. क्योंकि या तो ब्लैंक, सी इट वोंट बी करेक्ट एनालिसिस बिकॉज सिर्फ ऑर्डर डेट का ही इट विल रिफ्लेक्ट. ठीक है. जो रिटर्न में अगर वो डेट प्रेजेंट ही नहीं होगी तो इट विल शो यू ब्लैंक. राइट? सो बेटर क्या है कि यू बेसिकली पिक अप अ डेट फ्रॉम द कैलेंडर टेबल विच हैज ऑल द डेट्स, चाहे वो मंथ हो, ईयर हो, क्वार्टर हो, इट विल हैव ऑल द डेट्स फ्रॉम एंड टू एंड. So you will be using that as a center date column for all the analysis instead of using this order date or return date separately. क्योंकि फिर वो आपका एनालिसिस ब्रेकडाउन हो जाता है ना. फॉर एग्जाम्पल लेट्स से मैं कह रहा हूँ कि अगर मैं स्लाइड एक ये है विच इज गिविंग मी द टोटल सेल्स, ठीक है, और मैंने स्लाइसर में ले लिया रिटर्न डेट. इसमें लेट्स से जो रिटर्न है वो 2022 से स्टार्ट हुआ है, बट जो सेल्स है वो 2021 से स्टार्ट हो रखी है. तो 2021 का डेटा तो ये शो ही नहीं करेगा ना कभी. या लेट्स से 2022 में कोई रिटर्न ही नहीं हुआ और यहाँ पे रिटर्न रिटर्न का अमाउंट मेंशन्ड है, ठीक है, बट 2022 तो है ही नहीं फिर ऑर्डर डेट टेबल में. सो टू अब क्वेश्चन है व्हाई यू नीड टू क्रिएट अ कैलेंडर डेट टेबल टू रिमूव द डेट इनकंसिस्टेंसीज. ठीक है, यू विल बी ट्रीटिंग दैट एज अ सेंट्रल डेट कॉलम टू मैप टू द अदर टेबल्स व्हिच आर हैविंग अ डेट कॉलम इन कॉमन. तो बेसिकली अगर आपको डेट कंसिस्टेंसी रिमूव करनी है तो इन दैट केस यू विल बी क्रिएटिंग अ कैलेंडर टेबल एंड जनरली इट इज डन. ठीक है, so it's a calendar table. What will I create? A table itself, new table, and I will name this table as calendar table. ठीक है, now which function I will use? Calendar. अब ये कह रहा है start date and end date. तो start date, that means I have to manually check in each and every table what is the minimum date, मतलब which table is having the minimum date and which table is having the maximum date. So that's not dynamic, that's a hectic task. Or I can say max of min of a particular date column from a particular table. But यहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम क्या है कि मेरे को पता होना चाहिए कि कौन सी टेबल में मिनिमम डेट है और कौन सी टेबल में मैक्सिमम डेट है, क्योंकि मिन और मैक्स सिर्फ एक कॉलम इनपुट लेता है ना. So instead of defining this date manually, what I can say, I can use a function which is known as calendar auto. Okay, what it will do is it will scan all the tables which are in your data modeling, and then it will check ki which basically it will scan all the date columns in the all the tables in your data modeling tab, and then it will check ki which table is having the minimum date and which table is having the maximum date, like what is the minimum date and the maximum date in all the tables, and then accordingly it will give you the consistent all the consistent dates starting from minimum to maximum. Okay, and how it works is if you see, so let's say if we check once, let it be, if we check once, let's say this order date, sales date, we have sales order date, and it is starting from 17 to 2020. ठीक है, ठीक. Now let me create a new table. So I will say calendar auto. ठीक है, now it is saying fiscal year end month, कि आपका फिजिकल ईयर कब एंड होता है. अब मैं कहूंगा अगर मेरा फिजिकल ईयर इज यूएस फाइनेंशियल ईयर, तो इट एंड्स इन विच मंथ? दिसंबर, विच इज व्हाट 12. ठीक है, तो ये जो मेरी डेट है वो कहाँ से स्टार्ट करेगा? फ्रॉम 1st Jan एंड विल एंड इट एट 31st December. देखो, इट विल लेट्स से जो मिनिमम डेट है ना दैट इज 1st Feb 2017, दैट्स द मिनिमम डेट फाउंड, एंड द मैक्सिमम डेट इज 27 November 2018. ठीक है, now what this calendar auto will do, it has found the minimum and the maximum date, but it will allocate the dates as per the fiscal year. So fiscal year of 12, fiscal year ends in 12 month, that means US financial year. So US financial year कहाँ से कब से start होता है? 1st Jan से. So my dates will start from 1st Jan 2017, 2nd Jan 2017, 3rd Jan, like this. It will go on till what? 31st December 2018. So it will have all the dates. That's why it is known as a consistent date table. Huh? 2018. It's yeah. So that's my maximum date. No? So it will end up the fiscal year till the last date, 31st December 2018. ठीक है, let's say, ठीक है, let's check that now. 12 enter. See, it has picked up कि 17 is the year, minimum year, and what's the maximum year? It's 2019, right? See, I have yeah month number. Okay, 1 second. See, it is not showing all, but it is still what's the last date? 12 31st December 2020, which is the last day of the fiscal year. And I had data from 2020 till 2020. But let's say if I do not give any fiscal year over here, or like what's the fiscal year end month. So by default also, it is taking the US fiscal year only. Same output. Okay? Starting from 1st Jan. But if I want it as per the Indian fiscal year कब end होता है? March, which is which month number? 3. So if I say 3 over here, okay, now understand this. So my date will start from 1st April 2017. कब start होगा? 1st April 2017 से when the minimum date is either from 1st April 2017 or more than 1st April 2017. Otherwise, it will start from 1st April 2016. Agar I have a date which is 30 March 2017. ठीक है? Sorry, 2017. Yeah. So it will start from 1st April 2016. Because it will start from April and will end in March. As far as I know कि यहाँ पे शायद 1st June से start हो रहा है date 2017. ठीक है? तो my fiscal year should start from 1st April 2017. And क्योंकि I have dates which is 27, 9, I think something like that, 27 November or December, something like that we have, right? So it will go till 31st March 2021. क्योंकि 2020 तक है ना अपने पास, दिसंबर से पहले कोई डेट है मैक्सिमम डेट, तो फिस्कल ईयर मेरा कब खत्म होगा? 2021 में खत्म होगा एज पर इंडियन फिस्कल ईयर. So let's check that now. See, it is starting from 1st April 2017, and if we check, it is ending at 31st March 2021. Although I do not have the data for the last 3 months, but it is returning me the end-to-end dates based on minimum and maximum according to the fiscal years. Clear with this part? Any doubt in the calendar auto function? So instead of using calendar, you can use calendar auto. So next time when the data gets updated, it will automatically pick up the minimum and the maximum date, and accordingly from all the tables, and accordingly will give you the consistent dates. अब यहाँ पे आप देखो, all the days are, it is having each and every day of the year. So in that scenario, there will be no loss of the data over here. So now what I will do is, ठीक है,
but इसका database बड़ा क्यों है?
database बड़ा कैसे हो जाएगा?
Required dates के अलावा और other dates भी हैं, उसकी वजह से size बड़ा नहीं होता.
So then you can go with calendar function. Manually. But see, it is not taking up that much space as much as you are thinking, right? Because it is idly picking up the minimum and the maximum date, right? So 3 महीने ज्यादा या कम हो सकते हैं ना, ज्यादा 6 महीने हो जाएंगे. But it is not taking up like we are having a lot of years जो कि available ही नहीं है. Yes. Okay, now let's say, so this is what calendar function is. Then we have date function. Like if you have year, month, and day, you can simply give year, month, and day, and you can use the date function that will give you the date data type. So let me do one thing now. Like date function is similar. Then date diff. So give the date 1, date 2, and the interval. Okay, so let me show you date and date diff once. What will I create? A measure or a column? Column for the date. So if I say, let's say, just showing you the examples over here. So see, it's more or less like Excel functions only. If I say date, see, you just pass year, month, and day. Let's say year is 2024, month is 6, and day is 1. Okay, let's say. Yeah. So it will return me all the, basically it will be a constant date column. Also, you can basically use text functions also inside this to extract date, day, month, and year like you used to do in Excel. Same thing can be done over here as well. If I talk about date diff, we have date diff. So it is asking date 1, date 2. Let's say, okay, let me just keep it as date. Which function we have over here is There's a function which should return me today's date and time.
Date now.
So let me just make it date. The year is 2024, month is 1, day is 1. Okay. That's the name of the column. Now let me create another column which is basically date diff, how to take the difference. So I'll say date diff. Date 1 is date. So I have to mention calendar table. And from the calendar table, I will take date column. Date 2, I will say calendar table and today's date. And you want the output in day, month, minutes, hours, quarter, second, week, year, right? So let's say I want in year. Yeah. So these many options you're having over here. So it is showing me the 7 years difference because I've taken the difference at the year level. Okay. Date value function is same as what we have seen in Excel. If you have a text date, you can use the date value function to convert that into date data type. Okay. If you want to extract day, week, number, month, all can be just instead of date, you need to give what? The column name, like you used to give in SQL. Okay. Then you have quarter function, so which we did not had in Excel. Okay. So let's say we create a column, and I am saying quarter. Let the column be, and I'm saying quarter in years. Quarter, and I am saying date, calendar table, and I'm taking date. Okay. Now tell me, is the quarters correct? Or how I'm getting the quarters? As per which fiscal year? US fiscal year, I'm getting the quarters. So quarter function is by default giving me the US fiscal year quarters. Okay. Doesn't matter if your date is in Indian fiscal year, but still it is giving you returning what? As per US fiscal year. So how can you get the Indian fiscal year quarter? How can I get the Indian fiscal year quarter? Switch. Yes, that's one way. But we have a better way over here than switch in this scenario specifically. How we did that in Excel? If what? I can either take this column, but I don't want to take this column, let's say. So I want to say quarter of what? Calendar date. Let's say I haven't created these separate columns. I want to do it in a single column only. So this will return me what? Quarter, 1, 2, 3, 4 values. If this value is equals to what? US fiscal year के हिसाब से it is 1, right? Jan, Feb, March is first quarter as per Indian US fiscal year. So I want to replace wherever it is I want to replace that with 4. Otherwise, I want to do what? What if? I can simply say false partner. What was the pattern? Value minus 1. We have done this in Excel. Minus 1, 2 minus 1, 1, 3 minus 1, 2. So it will give me what? Indian. That is why I told you we have a better way than switch over here. And done. So I have got Indian fiscal year quarters now. See? Correct? Clear with this? So these were date and time functions. Specifically quarter, how you can get the Indian fiscal year quarters by using the same logic that we used in Excel. Okay. Then we are having time intelligence functions. Okay. So let me tell you the use. So what all categories we have seen? Maths and stats, filter, logical, date and time. Take a logical, we have used if also. Date and time. Then we have time intelligence functions. Okay. So let's say what you have done is so let's say if I just give if I just tell you that the total sales in May is let's say 10,000. Can you conclude any conclusion from this? Is it good or bad? You need some comparison for this. So if I tell you that the previous month sales of May, or let's say previous month sale was, let's say, 12,000, and current month sale is 10,000. Now, now it makes sense. If I tell you the previous yearly, like in the previous year, same month, the sales was around 8K. Ideally, you need some number to compare with some previous numbers. So for that, we have time intelligence functions. Okay. When you want to compare some numbers over a period of time. So it can be previous month or previous year or previous year, same month. So I can say key, let's say sales in November 2024 is 20,000, but sales in November 2023 was around 15,000. So I can see key we had lower sales previous year in the same month. Okay. So for that, we have time intelligence functions. So these are time intelligence functions we have. Date add. We have seen this date add in SQL. Yes or no? Okay. So let me show you how to use that. So date add I'm doing. So kind of I'm using date add as a filter. If I'm offsetting the dates using the date add function, I'm kind of using it as a filter function. Okay, just tell me how can I get the previous month sales? What should I create? A measure column or table if I want the previous month sales? Column? Why column? I need an aggregated value, sales. I'll create a measure for that. So I will say new measure. No. I need to calculate the aggregated value based on some expression, based on some filter context. Filter context kya hai? Date add, correct? I want to offset the dates. So I will say, let me give the name as, previous month sales. Okay? That's the name of the measure I'm giving. I'm saying calculate. Can I use sum x? I can just use expression over here. I cannot filter, correct? So I will say calculate. Expression is, let's say, sum of sales amount. You can define any expression and go outside the sum function. Filter one. What I want to do? I want to offset the dates, previous month. So date add dates. So which date I will take? Calendar date, because that's a consistent date. So I will say calendar date and number of intervals -1, because I want to offset 1 month. Interval is month, and how much? -1. That is previous month. And
previous month
minus number of intervals. In my previous 2 month -2. See, abhi iska use case nahi hai. That's just the measure I have defined. ठीक है? So this is giving me what? Previous month sales. ठीक है. Is everyone clear with the formula over here? What I have done? Filter में I have just used data add. ठीक है? ताकि slicer में, in the slicer, if I select May, it will filter what? In the slicer, if I select May, it will give me what output? Sales for what? April. That's what -1 is doing. Okay? So
the next one.
yes. So let's say if I make a card, I'm making a card which is having the sales amount, which is what? Where's the sales amount? Which is total sales, and I'm having another card. So side by side comparison will be good, which will have previous month sales. Done. Right now, both are same because मैंने कोई filtering तो apply की नहीं अभी, selection किया नहीं है. Now I will keep a slicer. In the slicer, I will keep which date column? Huh? Which date column? Calendar date. Because that's a consistent date column. So I will say calendar date ka date column. Okay. Some formatting needs to be done. I want it as a vertical list. Date hierarchy. Dave, I mean to quarter. ठीक है? See. अब मैं अगर मार्च सेलेक्ट कर रहा हूँ, so Why is it not changing? जब मैं कैलेंडर मंथ टेबल से ले रहा हूँ, why is it not changing? मतलब कोई भी चेंज नहीं हो रहा है. Tell me what's the reason behind this? Is there anything wrong with the DEX or anything wrong with the model view? So I haven't defined the relationship of this table with the sales table, right? So date, and I have a order date on the basis of which I will define this relationship. Okay, and done. So it is one to many or one to one, whatever it is. So one to many. Right. So now if I go back to this, see, it is changed but blank. So let's say May, July, June. So there was no sales till June. Okay, so sales started happening in July. So previous month sales will be blank. If I talk about August, so see, this is of which month? July. If I say यहाँ पे 18 May, if I select Jan, it will give me what? 1.70, which is of December. See. So side by side comparison is good. So I'm able to get previous month sales over here. So that can be done using the data. You can get previous month, previous day, previous quarter, previous weekday, previous year. Okay, using the data. So I'm using a data as a filter over here. Is everyone clear with this previous month sales part? Then we have dates between. So if you want to get the value of an expression between any two particular, between any interval, right? So for that you can use date between. Again, date between will be acting as a what? Filter. So जहाँ पे आप सोच date add भी क्या कर रहा है? Filter कर रहा है. Date between भी filter कर रहा है. So you'll be using it with calculate, obviously. See, this how would you know कि आपको calculate के साथ use करना है कि नहीं करना? So till the point, the expression, the function is not having its own expression argument. You have to use it with calculate. Clear? Yes. For example, total quantity is having its own expression argument. You can define your own expression. It is sum of sales, whatever it is, or whatever calculation. So you don't need to put this inside the calculate. So यहाँ पे if I say
तो हमें रिलेटिव फंक्शन यूज करना पड़ता है
नहीं,
अगर रिलेशनशिप दूसरी टेबल से अगर
yes. तो aggregated value कैसे लेके आओगे आप? If you want to use calculate, expression की value कैसे लेके आओगे?
बट आपने नॉलेज होता है कि उसके पास अगर वो इंडिविजुअली यूज किया जा सकता है अगर उसमें एक्सप्रेशन
Dates between नहीं. Let's say new mention I am saying, ठीक है? This one, dates between date one. Yeah, this can be used individually.
वो तो हाँ कैलकुलेट नहीं होगा.
These will be inside calculate because इनके खुद का expression argument नहीं है. So I will say dates between, again new measure, because I want to have a aggregated value, some expression aggregated value. So let me name it as date between underscore sales, and I'm saying calculate sum of sales amount, filter dates between. So it is asking dates. Which date column you will put over here? Calendar date. Then what's the start date? So I can say date function over here, and the starting date is let's say 2018, first month, first day. And what's the end date? So date column, I'm saying 2019, 1/1. Okay? That is 1 year, 1 day. That's my interval. Done. So if I calculate another, get another marks card, which is dates between. Okay, so let's say if I select 18, and if I select something like Feb, so you can see that dates between is not getting affected by the slicer, any slicer you pick up. No, that is calendar table वाला ही तो use किया था मैंने.
डेट बिटवीन में जो रेंज
हाँ, So it is a constant value which won't change. So it is basically, yeah, the total sales between 18 and 19. So from 18 to 19, so this was the sales done. So if you see total sales in 18 is what? 24.33, right? बट यहाँ पे एक दिन का एक्स्ट्रा है, 19 का यहाँ पे कुछ डेज है फर्स्ट डे का, तो इट इज 36, अदरवाइज इट इज सेम. So this date between is not affected by the slicer. ठीक है, date between filter.
तो एक बार आप 17 का दिसंबर चूज करें तो दिसंबर 2018 के ऊपर दिसंबर तब भी इफेक्ट
नहीं होगा ना. That's the property of dates between. Okay. So guys, clear with the dates between wala part? So we are left with, okay. See, I want to be discussing the text functions. All these are exact same as what we discussed in Excel. Exactly same. Okay. So we will be discussing table manipulation. Relationship we have discussed related. I'll see this also if I'll have an example for that. Then time intelligence. So I will discuss the total YTD same period last year. So these two in the next class. Okay. So mostly we are done with the text statements also. I mean text functions. Just 2 to 3 categories are left. We will cover it tomorrow. Now let me know any queries till this point, like whatever we have covered today. कौन सा? ये वाला?
टेबल भी ऊपर क्लिक करो, टेबल भी ऊपर क्लिक करो, एवरेज और वो बाकी ऊपर जंप करो. ये तो कितना बड़ा पार्ट है. ये कितना फंक्शन के आपका मतलब जब यूज कर सकते हैं ना, एक फंक्शन जैसे किसी तरह का लगा दिया. हाँ, टेबल तो तुम लिया, फाइल टेबल को चाइल्ड लिस्ट वन दे देंगे.
यहाँ पे देखो. Okay. So there is a calendar table. I have the sales table, which is the order date. Let's say I have one more table, which is the returns table. Okay. So on the basis of the date column, I'll be connecting to these two tables. वहाँ पे blank आएगा. Blank आएगा ना. The point is we're not missing out any date. If I have used return date somewhere in the analysis, return table somewhere in the analysis, और वहाँ पे date column date कुछ date missing है, तो वो show ही नहीं करेगा ना. Okay. Online guys, any queries till this point regarding the text part? Online guys, let me know. Offline guys, any query? Guys, let me know any query, whatever we have discussed today. If not, then I'm stopping for today.